Fearless and truthful.
Provocative and controversial.
We say it like it really is.
With dignity and respect.
Committed to free speech and common sense. Upbeat and entertaining.
Straight talking and direct.
We may agitate each other and you.
Thought-provoking, heartfelt and passionate.
Hello and welcome to The Pledge. It's a favourite with the older generation. Can keep going for hours. And it gets our very own Nick Ferrari screaming out loud. No, not you, Carol. I'm talking about a true British classic. Bingo! But now the masterminds behind the game are getting down with the kids in an attempt to entice a whole new generation of players. The big plan? Ditching the traditional calls we know and love for a whole lot of woke phrases. Well, never ones to miss out an opportunity to join in the fun, we've come up with a Plingo special. So, ladies and gentlemen, get your dabbers at the ready, and away we go. 25, it's time to go live. 1, famous family. Number 38, not another Brexit debate. 74, Carol's got more. 87, Greg's on the stairway to heaven. 88, Nick's running late. 49, it's time for wine.
Yes.
Yeah, I like somehow, I'm not sure they'll catch on. Coming up on the programme, Femi's got issues with Big Brother. Carol wants tougher sentences for those who attack cops. I'm saying anti-Semitism isn't a thing of the past. And Nick is showing sexism the red card in the workplace. But first, it's Rachel.
The war is over. The people have spoken again. And what they've said is they basically voted for us never to discuss Brexit on the pledge ever again. I get that. I also want the healing to begin. But there's only 11 months to do the deal. Every looming challenge or present danger is one best not faced alone. The technological threats to sovereignty, the deadly virus sweeping the world, global climate change, nuclear proliferation, terrorism. There are reasons to be cheerful. The government can govern. Confidence is bouncing back. We can all move on, but can't tell a lie. The Brexit 50p doesn't quite make up for what I feel my children have lost. The freedom to live and work in 28 countries and common cause and free trade with the market of 500 million on our doorstep. War is over, but now for the hard part. How easy is it really going to be to win the peace?
OK, the fact that you guys were sighing at the loss of free movement is insane to me. One of the biggest things that was argued about during the referendum was free movement. You can't then argue that movement will be just as free after Brexit. Essentially what we've had here is, for the past 4 years, the country as a whole has been arguing, basically in a car, fighting over the steering wheel, over who gets to drive it where, etc. Right now, Boris Johnson has wrestled full control, and now everybody is now together in the back seat waiting to find out where it goes. We're going to find out whether or not Brexit's a good idea or a bad idea. That's where we're heading.
I'm going on strike. I refuse to do this all over again, guys.
I kind of concur.
No, I'm sorry.
We are leaving the EU. This is the momentous moment of the week, which started with the Holocaust Memorial Day on Monday.
And on Friday... You can have it.
Should I come off?
You can have it. Here we go.
Even you should admit we're leaving the EU, the institutions that have kept peace and prosperity in Europe for my whole lifetime.
Bear in mind, people could be watching this who've already left the EU, and amazingly, there's still water in the taps and the lights are on.
And the sun will rise in the morning.
You talk about the deadly virus. I don't quite see how you think being in the European Union could combat the smoon of coronavirus, but there we are. Well, hang on. We've been so effective on the war against terrorism. Tell that to the people of the cities such as Paris, Berlin, Nice and in London. That's really worked well. As to your point of freedom, how on earth do the people of Switzerland manage to get into mainland Europe? What are they forming?
They're in Schengen.
Whatever it might, it might be, or other countries.
They're in Schengen. We're not in Schengen.
Amazingly, we will still have freedom of movement, don't worry. And as for the crowning...
Have you not seen the government...
Wait. Hang on, you either ask me to speak or not.
We have this until January 2021.
I can't believe this is it, and then I'm going on strike. The crowning lunacy, this great European Union project faced with the crisis of migration, were utterly, criminally incompetent. It's over, it's bust. Not for nothing does even the IMF say that the British economy would outstrip that of the Eurozone. I'm through. I'm joining his strike. Carol.
Right.
Carol.
You talk about how are we going to make the peace between... We've had 3 years...
How are we going to win the peace?
Well, how are we going to win the peace?
I understand you're celebrating,
right.
but what are you celebrating?
No, but the thing is, OK, I'm celebrating, but I'm not triumphant. However, you're talking about winning the peace. We are never going to win the peace in this country as long as Remainers refuse to accept what has happened.
I do.
Boris,
not accepting
let
it.
me finish my point, please. So, this week, Boris tweeted that the withdrawal agreement had been signed, and he said, we are beginning a new chapter in our history. Now, let me, you've all heard of an actor called John Hannah, have you? You know, the Hold the Clock's Eye for Weddings. He actually tweeted this week, just listen to this, and pardon my language, because I'm sure some of it will be blipped out. He said to your brother, you slimy, fat, self-serving, arrogant. That is what. This is where we're at.
Carol, that's social media
Let me
abuse.
finish. This is the views of Remainers.
Can we just see Andrew Adonis's tweet, which I did think was slightly petty? And Lord Adonis tweeted, "I am never using or accepting this coin," which says peace, prosperity, and friendship with all nations, which seems fairly innocent to me. Can we also, while we're on the subject of actors, take a look at a clip from Hugh Grant, the star of Four Weddings and a Funeral?
I know that a few weeks ago you were campaigning, and I'm just wondering, how are you feeling now that, you know, everything is kind of settled? Are you encouraged any?
No, it's a catastrophe.
So no bright line or horizon?
No. The country's finished.
I think we can all agree Hugh Grant was obviously joking. He lives and loves and works in this country.
Can we say he was joking?
He was obviously joking.
I just want to say and explain perhaps my opening line on this. I think hopefully everyone can agree that the last experience we've just had with the Labour leadership and some of the division and divisiveness that caused in the country has been a horrific experience for many people in this country. I was surprised to learn that actually only 26% of people had a row with somebody they care about over the whole politics general election situation, whereas 48% of us actually fought with somebody we care about over Brexit. And I think this debate's an example of it. So I think actually what all of us, I voted Remain, I campaigned for a people's vote. I think personally, we who lost that debate should now be focusing on trying to develop a positive Britain, a vision for a liberal Britain beyond Brexit.
But you can see that
and working with Brexit.
You can see that's not happening with the tone of many Remainers. And, you know,
so can I just suggest what I was going to say? So we Remainers who lost the debate should be working with Brexiters to try and develop a positive vision for what we want our country to look like going forward, because the debade's over, we've lost it.
By the way, I
the
had
more
a
we speak
lunch.
about it, complaining about whatever we did, and I'm not saying you're complaining, I say we're going to lose Remainers, and actually the polls indicate that. So now 50%, and when you take away the don't knows, 54%, now back Brexit, and I think actually we will lose support the more we look backwards rather than forwards.
Brexit is a fact. We've all accepted. I think even Femi has accepted it. I had lunch with Nigel Farage this week, and we raised a glass. So it was a three-bot. No, it wasn't. But we all raised a glass.
But there are still Remainers, and people like Hugh Grant, and I don't believe that was a joke at all, are still saying that, you know, by this stage in you know, where we're at, we should be going to hell in a handcart. The opposite is true. Okay, last week 1,000 EU finance companies said they were coming to open offices.
Great.
We had the biggest jobs. We again smashed jobs record.
Great.
33 million people in
Carol,
jobs.
why are you saying
We've
this
been
as if I'll be cross about
because
this?
a lot of, I'm not saying you would be, I'm talking about Remainers in general. You say they've
we are all
accepted it.
leavers now,
They haven't.
Carol. We are all leavers now. We are leaving. We will have left.
Well, that's you, Rachel. That's not a lot of people I'm talking about.
Well, the issue of whether or not we leave or not is going to be settled within 24 hours. So that's not really an issue anymore. The question is, what is going to happen this year? Boris Johnson has until the end of the year to negotiate an international trade deal in about a third of the time that took him to negotiate a trade deal that only lasts 11 months.
I can tell you're winning him on.
And at the end of that, it is either going to be realistically staying under the EU's rules with no say, an extension, or a no-deal Brexit. There are no good options there. Now you're gonna tell me that I should just get behind Britain. I'm sorry.
So you're not getting behind. So this is exactly what I'm saying. So people like you are saying we're accepting, but you will not accept that we.
Sorry, no. This is really important.
He just said we've got a fork in the road. Are we going to align or are we going to diverge? This is going to be hugely important for every single company and every single person in Britain.
This is really important.
Boris has said he will have the trade deal by the end of the year. he's also said he'll have it with the US by the end of the year.
I am tired of this idea that if you don't support the direction that the country is currently going, you do not believe in Britain and you do not love Britain. We are just as patriotic as the rest of you. The fact is, if somebody gets behind a car they can see is going off a cliff, that person hates that car and everyone in it. Anyone who loves the people in that car should be inside that car saying, "Hey, driver, there's a cliff."
You have zero faith in this country, and it shows. You cannot believe we will make a success of this. I happen to think we will make a success of this.
The vast majority of
Rachel,
experts.
the more this happens, the more this loses, and that wins. Even if you disagree with what she's saying, we're losing support. Now 54% are backing Brexit. The more this debate carries on in this hostile adversarial way, in the hostile adversarial way, the more Remainers are going to be painted as bitter losers. I think we need to devise a language and a way to communicate with the Carols of this world in a way that makes her laugh at me rather than
the Carols of this world.
We're losing this debate, Femi. We are losing it.
I've got to just correct you. You're going to use the polls. 52.7.
Femi, you're going to do it to me now as well. We're losing the debate, mate.
52.7% voted for parties that were committed to having a second referendum.
All I'm saying,
you cannot quote the polls and say that people back this Brexit.
All I'm saying is, Femi, is the more we carry this on, and you've got the facts on your side, I voted in that direction. The more we carry this on, the more we're going to lose this debate. What we need to do instead is devise a way, a vision, because you've presented 3 options. Now, if they're the only 3 options, we have to pick one of them and then lobby for that one to happen.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
And so that's what we should be focusing on: is what's the vision that we want for the future for this country to look like post-Brexit.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and the messaging needs to reflect that, I think, rather than reflect a tone that sounds as if we're still upset about what happened in the past. That's my advice.